So when we talk about word problems, okay, we have been looking at three specific types of functions, right? We talked about linear. So linear functions, obviously if we graph them on our calculators, they may go like this. This is one option, right? Or you might have a scenario where it goes down like this. Those are our linears. Okay. Then we have quadratic functions, and quadratic functions could look like this, or like this. Okay. And cubic, and I'm going somewhere with this. I'm preparing you for word problems because that's where you're going to spend most of your time. Most of the marks are going to be associated with a word problem. Okay. Cubic may only have something like this, or it may have one of these. Okay. Two terms. So one thing I need you to know that every single scenario you're going to look at has a domain and range. Every single one. Okay? You're with me? If there's arrowheads on both ends, obviously this is not a word problem. Most likely not a word problem. I need it quiet for now. So what's going to happen now, okay, where we're going to go from here is we're going to associate a word problem around these types of functions. And so you have to imagine at times that we won't care about the other quadrants, right? We will, for instance, just care about quadrant 1, okay? So in this case, the domain we would start from x over here, and this would go on to infinity, right? Our domain would go on to infinity. Our range would start at 0 and go on to infinity as well. So, but we start right here and it goes from there. Over here, okay, you may only have to worry about the first quadrant as well. This would be, my example is always like how much gas is in your tank when you start and then it slowly depletes to 0, right? So that's a scenario there. For quadratics, right, we have, you may only have to worry about that little stretch there, okay? Let's put away the distractions now, guys. Phones, put them away for now. You can have your time later, okay? So you have your quadratic there. And again, this may change, right? You might have a quadratic that goes straight down, up, and then down. You'll have to graph it and figure it out. But your domain and range changes here. Okay, if you're only in first quadrant, you should not have any infinities there on that scenario. Okay, similarly here. Okay, it might be that you don't care about these two quadrants here, but you have a scenario where you go underwater or underground and then you go back up, and it could be that this stops here where you don't have arrowheads anymore. Okay, so that's kind of like the scenarios that we will consider. So you have to read carefully. You have to understand what is happening, right? That there are restrictions there. It's not just the whole thing anymore, even though your calculator will show you the whole thing. You have to understand that you're restricted, okay? Further restricted in that sense. So these are all the graphs that we have, linear, quadratic, cubic. But one thing that all of them have in common, let me just go up here, they all have some sort of equation, okay? You always have an equation that produces the graph. What we're going to do once we figure out how to work with the equations and translate it and answer a bunch of questions, we're going to take a step further back where you are going to get points, okay? And with those points, we're going to come up with our equation. And once we have the equation, we can graph it and answer a bunch of questions that come to you through the question, right? The prompts that they will give you. So this is the progression. We kind of started here. I just gave you the equation. We plugged it in. We considered all 4 quadrants. Now we're going to go into an equation that is related to a word problem. Okay, so then we restrict it. Once we spend a day or two, like tomorrow, I already expect us to start with regressions. Regressions is the process, and the calculator helps us with it, to come up with an equation. Okay, so that's something that you need to keep in mind. That's where we're going to kind of navigate. For the rest of this unit, we're going from equation. Is there a word problem associated with it? How does it restrict our graph? Okay, and then once we've done that, we're going to go back to points, and with those points, we come up with our equation. Okay, so that's kind of what, in the next couple of days, what we're going to spend time on. So on 22, you have a review. I want to ask you to now go to 27. We're going to do a cubic function there. Okay. So I'm going to park on 27. I'm going to ask you to already enter that into your calculator.